Good evening,
Good evening.
everybody.
Good evening.
Good
to our
evening.
guests.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. I don't want that part to them.
Yes.
All right. So just understand. I want to just take a moment to introduce um, our guests.
Yes.
But I just want to take out of that one moment.
Mhm.
I want to take another moment just to acknowledge the main guest tonight. So we put something together as an introduction. So our guest, and we will share a little bit more of where the setting is and where we are.
Yeah.
We are just here this evening to acknowledge and to celebrate a special individual. She's a mother to thousands, a big loving heart
Yes.
personified, right? Her home is a safe haven to many.
Mhm.
She's a woman of God.
Yes.
She is a wife. She is a mother.
Mhm.
She is the founder and mother
Yes.
of Hannah's Place of Safety.
Come on.
No other than Mrs. Janine
Janine
Fabe.
Fabe.
We are so honored tonight to have
Wow.
you with us.
Yes.
It's tonight, so people might be looking at watching the rebroadcast of the show. It might be
Yes.
morning, it might be afternoon when
Or
they see
evening.
this. But allow us to welcome you to Hot
Yes.
Talks.
Thank you for having me.
Oh wow!
Thank you for having us.
You waited so
And
long for
then
this
obviously,
moment,
yes, we were waiting, and she said, "I'll let you know when I have a moment."
Yeah.
And we found the moment, but not to neglect the infamous
Yes.
and the most sexiest tour guide.
Come on.
Ooh, girl.
Come on.
That
that-
loves his dishes and
That
knows
loves his dishes. He knows his food. He knows South Africa.
Yes.
He knows the world.
Yes.
And he's the head of this home,
The priest.
the priest of this home.
Yeah.
And Hannah's Place of Safety won't be Hannah's Place of Safety without the
Infamous.
infamous
Yes.
husband of Janine Fabe,
Yes.
Sir Dion Fabe. It's also man, it's so amazing to have you with us tonight. So we have a couple of questions lined up for you. Caitlin and Cameron will obviously administrate it, but
Yes.
we want to say from the bottom of our hearts,
Yes.
for what it is worth, thank you so much. Words cannot express it. This podcast will probably never ever be able to do it justice.
Yes.
But on behalf of society, on
Yes.
behalf of community,
Yes.
on behalf of mankind,
On behalf of the nation.
on behalf of the nation, but more importantly, as ambassadors of Christ,
The kingdom of God.
we and the kingdom of God,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Hulle sê as jy trou moet jy haar op jou tande hê, maar to run an operation, because
Yeah.
we come here sometimes, and to run an operation like this, it
Yes.
takes nothing less than
Everything of you.
everything.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
understand this setting here is their home. They live here.
Yeah.
They live here. They actually stay here. They don't work here and then they go home.
Yeah.
They work here and they are home.
Yes.
So we
Within a family.
within a family,
a marriage.
a marriage, within what they do, because this we were chatting about this before. Just so you know, is it okay if we put it out there
In the green
that
room.
they don't go to church on a Sunday morning as per the norm.
Yeah.
This is what they do. This is their Sunday morning
This is their ministry.
every single day.
Yeah.
So as once again,
24/7.
24/7. So
Yeah.
they have some questions for you that they've set up for you, like how do you do it, and what do you do when there's a baby that has a fever, and all those questions will come out that people think.
Yeah.
So once again,
Huge
Mr.
thank
and
you.
Mrs. Fabe, Mr. and Mrs. Dion Fabe, thank you so much for having us.
Welcome to Hot Talks.
Welcome back to Hot Talks, where we obtain knowledge in the area of
Let's
ignorance.
go.
Let's go. So, today we have guests. And no, it's not our parents. Finally, it's not our parents, but we have two other parents with us today.
Parents to many, may I add?
Crazy. So, would you like to just introduce him to the podcast and the conversation?
I think my father bore that honor. But I just want to welcome Auntie Janine and Uncle Dion Fabe.
Fabe.
Thank you.
Wow, we're so happy to be with guests. I'm going to be honest with you guys. You guys are actually our first guest for the podcast. We haven't had guests on before. That's why we're so nervous.
Yep.
But we thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you for granting us the opportunity to be on this podcast. It's such an honor and privilege for us. But what we always do before we start a topic, we always have an icebreaker.
To settle the nerves.
Just to settle the nerves.
Yep.
And this is actually something we asked our parents a while back. And this is like, what advice were you given by your grandparents or your parents that you carry with you throughout life?
Yep.
Like they would call it like a old man's rat. Is that what it's called? Old man's rat, yeah.
My dad, I often would say this to people. My dad's words to me was, if you look for a reason not to bless somebody, you'll find 100 reasons not to do so.
Wow.
That was the late Alfie Fabe.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that.
Sure.
It's like if somebody knocks at your door asking for food.
Yeah.
Kom môre, kom 11 o'clock. Ons het nie nou nie. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah.
There's a man that's hungry. His drug addiction is not my business.
Wow.
Of course, you use, discernment.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that. I use it often.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sure.
And did you know?
Well, very similar to Dion's dad. My late dad was also of the knowledge that we should never turn someone away when they come and ask for bread or something to eat, because he always used to say we could find ourselves in their shoes.
Wow.
So we must give when people come. And so it's something that I take with me, and we exercise it here at home.
Wow.
We practice it at least.
Wow. One thing I'll never forget is that my parents once told me is that if your hand is closed, you're not able to receive.
Yep.
So if you're not willing to give, you can't receive.
Absolutely. Mm.
Yeah.
I think that is so profound that both of you guys had the similar sayings that both of your parents have instilled in you in such a young age. And like many people get blinded by our privileges that we forget that there's people outside that is also suffering. That we, like Auntie Janine said, that we can also find ourselves in their shoes.
Yeah.
And I think that that's so profound that you were instilled that teaching such a young age, and we can see the fruits thereof of that seed that was planted in your hearts in such a young age. And we're gonna get to that shortly, and we're gonna ask you questions on how the vision started and how this operation ran so smoothly. Because I do believe if the head is right, then the operation is right. So, Caitlin, without further ado,
I love it.
I don't know if you want to comment on.
I don't want to comment, but I just think that you just took the cake there.
Yeah.
The head is right.
Yeah.
Yo. Okay, so we just went through a few questions, but it's not like not gonna be like an interview by a norm, like a conversation. So first of all, like they were introduced, they are the founders of Hannah's Place of Safety.
Yep.
Hannah's Place of Safety. But we want to know, how did the idea come about when creating the safe house for babies?
Yep.
Well, I think that it all started with a seed. Okay, so this seed was my dad. Growing up with my dad, and I speak about this often, it never gets easy though, but growing up with my dad, I found him to be a selfish person, yet not turning anyone away from the doors for food. But on the flip side, like a selfish person. Everything inside the house is mine. It's my way. It's no way, And he was also an alcoholic, but he provided for his family and he loved us. I would ask my mom, why is daddy the way he is? And my mom would always say, when you're older, I'll give you more information. I'll tell you more. Well, eventually she told me that my dad grew up in a children's home. And it almost started to make sense. And she used to tell me the story about the underpants. And she would say, your dad is a grown man now and he still doesn't wear an underpants. And I would be like, why? And then she would say, because in the children's home that he grew up in was a boys' home. And today, for example, Cameron, you would wear the underpants. And then tomorrow, Dion would wear the underpants. And then you won't have one. And then that is how it used to be. So the pieces all started falling together. And I started to understand more why my dad was the way he was. But at the same time, he also still had a very kind heart. And I think that was the seed. And then while just working and growing up and working in corporate and so on, it was always my desire. It was my desire to adopt a child. When I say I mean I made it Dion's desire as well. So his desire, we just came together, and it was our desire to adopt a child. So that was just part of building to where we were going. I wanted to make a difference in children's lives. I didn't want children to grow up and go through what my dad went through, because I got more information as to which home he was at, what happened, and it wasn't nice. And so I wanted to make a difference in children's lives. And when Dion and I got married, we had Bjork, and I said to him, you know what, I really want to adopt a child. He says, you know what, actually we can do it. You know, so he came on board with the idea. It just had to happen. So then now just backtracking, for me it started off with my dad, and then we adopted Hannah, and Hannah was just the catalyst, you know. And then it was just about becoming debt-free, because yes, we were working and we had debt on our cars, whatever, the house and so on. We had to be debt-free, or shall I say I had to be debt-free to be able to walk away from a job, knowing that I don't have any credit cards, car debt, house, whatever it may be, to be able to do this.
Wow.
Because you cannot have even a clothing account if you do this, because there's no salary in what I do. So yes, I became debt free, and Hannah's place of safety was just in the mind. It was just still there, and I wanted to do it because I wanted to do it. And then we went on to adopting Hannah, and we named Hannah's place of safety in honor of Hannah. Because Hannah was a child that was abandoned and was found by some children that were passing a bridge, and they heard this crying. They thought it was a cat. So the children went to go investigate what's going on, and then they found this baby, and she was 2 days old when they found her. And then it was right opposite the hospital that she was born. And I volunteered at Christine Revel Children's Home, and that is where I met Hannah when she was 5 days old. So with Hannah coming into our lives, I then even more so wanted to make a difference in more children's lives. But I had to get the whole family on board. That's where you come in.
What's it saying? Happy wife, happy life. So, yeah, it's like I often tell people, if Janine says tomorrow she wants to go to the moon, I'm the guy that will find the rocket. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm not always the initiator of things. I am I am the support. I am the one that makes it work.
Wow.
He does. For example, when we started, I just asked him for one room. And now I have the entire downstairs section of our house. So like he says, happy wife, happy life.
And that's
Soon I'll be looking for a room.
And that's exactly it. The fact that when something is from God,
Yeah.
the Lord had already prepared
Yeah.
Yes.
Uncle Dion's heart
Yes.
for when you come with the adoption. And that's just how amazing God is.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's so amazing.
Like also like sorry, before we go on to the next question, like it's not always that you find a couple that is like-minded. Like I can come to Caitlin with the idea that a good idea, because the Bible says all good things come from God. So it can be a good idea, but she might not be on the same wavelength of how I'm thinking, but it's just so beautiful to see that there is couples, there is individuals that think the same. So when you guys come with outrageous, because like who would think a house full of babies? Like it's crazy to even think about, but the fact that you guys are just willing to like put your fleshly wants to the side to better another child's whole, or prepare prepare that child's life and nurture that for and pave the way for the rest of their life is actually, it's mind blowing. Wow, I'm still getting goosebumps as I'm sitting here. So let's just move on to the next question.
So we know a bit more about anesthesia of safety and how it came about. And we see things like, because we come here, not often, but we come here occasionally.
Yeah.
And we see how the babies are so calm, they're so cute, they're playing on the floor. But the nights. Because one thing that, you know, when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about children crying, you know.
Yeah.
Especially like if we have our cousins over and they crying at night, that's
And they're not
one
easy to put to
child.
sleep.
That's one child. But imagine having like 10 or 15 children.
So here's the thing. Imagine, but now don't imagine. Just listen. The babies are inside. None of them are crying.
Sure.
If you think about it right now,
Sure.
they're all inside, they're settled. Janine and I often, you know, we would walk through the house and some of them would have withdrawals. And it goes on, and it doesn't matter what you do, what you give, the withdrawals, the craving is there. And, you know, I'm sure the staff sometimes also think, what are we talking? And we're praying, you know, because at the end of the day, we're dealing with demonic things.
Yeah.
You know, drugs and whatever abuse is not of God. And so we walk through. I would have a baby occasionally, not often, if it gets too much, because the staff has to deal with many babies. I would take a baby and walk up the road.
Wow.
And, you know, if it helps, it helps. If it don't, I had a good walk. You know, I had my ears, you know, syringed with shouting. So, yeah, we make things work.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
is, and that takes a servant heart
Yeah.
Yeah.
to say yes to the call. And
Yes.
sometimes the things God asks us to do is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, having a baby crying is not the
Not having
easiest
a
thing.
baby crying.
Or
Having babies crying.
is not the easiest thing, but the fact that you are obedient enough to say, you know what, Lord, use me.
Yeah.
I'm willing.
He also said something about it's hard. We like to say this is hard work,
Sure.
not hard work. It's hard work. Janine often says this is hard work.
Yeah.
And if your heart's not here, you're going to be frustrated.
Yeah.
If your heart's not in it, the babies are going to, you know, get to you.
Yeah.
They're going to feel it.
Yeah, you'll feel it. But so,
Yeah.
and Janine preaches that to the staff also.
Yeah.
And we got an amazing complement of staff that
Yeah.
that gets and buys into that vision of hard
Yeah.
work.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, because you need to just at the back of your mind know that all the babies in our care are actually born from substance. So they should be screaming at the top of their lungs. And they go through a phase where they do. Probably the first 2 or 3 months of their lives is hard,
Sure.
depending on what substance is in their system. Like today when Dion said he takes a baby for a walk. Today we went to go fetch our granddaughter at creche, and we walked, and I had a baby, just like swaddled, strapped onto my chest, because she's one of the babies that is going through the worst. And they can tire out the staff. And so when I do come down and I see that one, I'll take that one and we'll just go outside, or I'll talk, or I'll pray. You know, just to pray the child back into calmness.
Wow.
And you can.
Wow.
You can definitely. They call me the baby whisperer.
And that is just the thing that the fact that you are doing this for a good cause, but you're doing it with the Lord, that
Yes.
just makes everything better.
Yep.
Supernatural peace.
Yes, absolutely.
Within the chaos that people
Yeah.
might say, all these, because that's what I thought, babies crying, but the fact that Uncle Dion just said now, it's quiet, like as we're sitting here,
It's
maybe
quiet.
guys can hear,
Not even a peep.
it's quiet.
It's crazy.
We told them please behave. We're going to be on a podcast, so once we're done, they can go for it. No, but they are in routine.
Yeah.
They'll be carrying on sleeping till tomorrow, wake up for feeding, wake up for cleaning.
Yeah.
And tomorrow morning, it's a new day. We
Wow.
take it as it comes.
Like, it's so crazy. Even the dog is more loud than the babies. Like, we
When you
walk in
came
and the
in.
dog is making the noise. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Because those dogs are actually very protective over the
Yeah.
babies.
Wow.
And I believe children are gifts from God.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're gifts from God. So when it comes to the challenges of those kind of things,
Mm.
what practical things do you put in place to overcome that?
Yeah.
Overcome. Can we explain what the question just...
Like
Yeah.
the challenges of, like you just said now, about the babies crying,
Okay.
sometimes with the staff, managing things around it, especially because the babies are in your home
Yes.
where you live. So those challenges, like what practical things do you do to overcome those challenges?
You know, Caitlin, we don't even see it as challenges anymore. When we are in the home, or if we come downstairs and we find the baby crying and the staff's hands are full, we automatically just fall in and we don't really see or feel that it is a challenge. Yeah, people from outside will come in and say, this is craziness, you know. Even when the strangest thing is when we sit in and we have dinner at night and we hear the babies crying and there's a cry that goes on for too long, either myself, I'll get up, or my daughter Bjork will get up and we go and get the baby and we sit at the table with the baby. And for us, that's normality.
Wow.
That's just like, it's normal. Dion is not getting upset because we're going to fetch a baby. I'm not getting upset because he's going. For us, it's just so natural and normal.
Wow.
And the challenges are there are challenges. So I'll just point out maybe just one or two of the challenges. So because our babies are drug withdrawing, if we don't get medication from the hospitals, all we can do is give them natural medication and a whole lot of prayer. A whole lot of prayer. And not all my staff are saved, but most of them are. So 70% of my staff is saved. And I hear when I go into the room sometimes and there's like a scream of note, I'll hear the phone in the background playing. And they'll be playing some nice worship music for the children, trying to calm them down. So yes, we can't do this without God. Definitely not. So yeah, challenges, I don't particularly like the word challenge. Maybe when you talk about challenges in finances, yes. But with the babies, it's become a natural thing and we all just fall in. My kids, Dion, myself, it's like we all just melt together.
Wow. I love that. So, do you have any hopes for the future?
For Hannah's Place of Safety, definitely a whole lot of hopes. At the moment, we are looking at moving Hannah's Place of Safety onto their own premises and then expanding. My hope is that I can expand it first and foremost to have more children in care. And then we obviously have to re-register as a child and youth care center because that's what it takes to have more children. But we also want to have extra rooms like where we can have occupational therapists come onto the premises. I also want to have another room where women and men just come and pray. You know, so we want to have different rooms for different things. And maybe even have a room where we can offer someone to come in and do parenting classes with those babies' moms. It doesn't necessarily mean that the babies are going to go back to their moms, but we also want to empower these women. Because when I often speak to my babies inside, when I speak to their moms and you listen to them, it's a generational thing. Because they were also in the system. Their mothers were also children of the system. So it's a generational curse. You know, and I don't know if people even have prayed for them. So when I do speak to the moms, I will talk and I will ask them, do you want me to pray for you? You know, and I do. And if I don't see her again, I know that a seed has been planted. Yeah.
Wow.
One of the hopes is also that somebody in a nutshell buys this property.
Wow.
Because this property is set out for the babies. the counseling rooms easier.
Yeah.
Everything is on this property, secure, powered up, the works,
Wow.
as opposed to starting over. We can walk away to a 3-bedroom house. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So lastly, what can an individual do in the community to help this operation called Hannah's Place of Safety?
So, we often put on our Facebook page, let's say we run out of NAN 1, NAN 2, Lactogen 1, 2, the
Baby
nappies,
formula.
all of the formulas, the feeds, the wares, the clothing and that we put on. And local people do support.
Wow.
Local people do support. If we ask today now that we need, and the reason why I'm saying the different brands is because our babies are not all on one type of formula, so tip doesn't work well with this, heroin doesn't work well with that, so they have all these different, and this is why we have a lot of different formulas for the babies to feed on. Also the clothing, we ask people, they donate, but the big thing that we need is we got 13 staff that we need to pay. Okay, so people do deposit into the NPO account, not to us, into the NPO account, because we are accountable to SARS, we are accountable to Caesar, and that's what matters. So yeah, at the end of the day, we've got bills to pay. When we go to a doctor, we pay. When we go to the hospital, the good thing is the hospital sends us a bill, Janine sends it back with our paperwork, and they call it a day. But hospital specialists and things like that needs to be done. We drive probably most of the day to clinics, to hospitals, to police stations, wherever we need to be. So of course diesel, so hoping some fuel company would say we'll sponsor you for a year. But look, at the end of the day, it takes a lot of work. So like for example, we are going to have a annual dance in July. And we, if people can just, even if they don't come to it, just to donate or buy a ticket, so that all goes. We've got different, ways of raising money. So I almost want to say, if people want to know how to contribute financially, just go on our Facebook. They will see that we don't ask for a lot.
Yeah.
If we ask today for milk, 20 people gives, and we sort it for 3 months.
Wow.
So we don't ask 20 days in a row. Yeah. So that kind of thing. People know, they trust us, they know that we are transparent. They can come here. So we prefer people to look what we need, go on to Pick and Pay ASAP, go on to Checker 6060, get it there. You don't need to leave your office or your home, buy it online, we get it within an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and saying that, I also tell people that you can make a difference. You can make a difference alongside us, and we change lives together.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's not just us. You might not be able to volunteer or like give lots or give money or things, but when you go do your shopping, just like pop in a packet of wet wipes, and then do it for a couple of times, and then you accumulate it, and then you phone us and you come and drop it. So that would be something we didn't have like a minute or a few seconds ago.
Yeah.
But when you bring something towards our project, you are actually changing the lives alongside us. And I think that is very profound, is that you don't have to volunteer, you don't have to physically be here, but you can contribute and do something and help us change that child's life.
And that's a seed that is being sown.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you want to see change, you be the change.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it starts off with one person. It started off with you, Auntie Janine, over to Uncle Dion, and that's how you started changing lives. And those children will eventually grow up. Then they can be a change. And then they will have children, then they can be a change.
Yes.
So it's like,
Wow.
I'm like sitting here and I'm so amazed at what God is doing.
Just to add on, it's over 200 children, and we will be 8 years in October. We know where they are. We see them grow. We see their progress. Every birthday, the foster adoptive moms and dads send photos to say, look at Johnny, look at Mary. They are speaking well, they're doing this, they're doing that. So it makes us proud. People often ask, what do we get out of it? There's no monetary reward for us.
Wow.
The reward for us is to see our nation, our community,
Sure.
our South Africa grows from Hannah's place of safety. We're never going to change the world,
Yeah.
you know. But like with Hannah, we changed one, and then it just somehow didn't stop, and now it's 200 plus later.
Wow.
And
Talk about
that's-
fruit.
That is fruits.
Yeah.
That's fruits, and like Uncle Dion just said now, you don't see any reward in it, but there's heavenly reward.
Of course.
Yes.
And
Yes.
something I also wanted to ask is that when a child is sent off to foster parents, like, do you feel like any sort
longing.
of longing
Yes.
for them?
Yes, no, absolutely. It is. It's hard when a child actually leaves. So when a child leaves, we take a picture. We know where the child is going to. We smile. We're okay. And then during the day, even when you walk through the house here, you'll find that the staff is extra quiet. And I have like a ritual. When I come back from court, I go straight upstairs to my room and I cry. And I cry because I'm happy, but at the same time, it's like it's my child.
Yeah.
You know, because we treat them like our own children. We don't treat them like your auntie or your cousin. They're like our children, like born from our bodies. So yes, we do feel, and we can't feel for too long because the very next day that space is filled.
Yeah.
It's filled, and
Yeah.
so then we start all over again. But we don't forget them. I know it, like the Uncle Dion said, we know where they are. And I follow up and I check. And just by the way, your mom was very much in love with triplets at one stage.
I remember.
And today we spoke about the triplets at social development. They are practically almost walking. And they're doing well.
So, for people that want to volunteer helping out here at Hannah's Place of Safety, because I know that it is an option because my mom has volunteered here a few times.
Yes.
How can someone
Come on board.
come on board? Yep.
Very, very good question. If you go to our website, all the information is there as well. What to do to become a volunteer. So I'll just say what it is. You need to go for your police clearance at your nearest police station. And then there's also a child protection form. It's called the Form 30. You can download it from the internet, or I will happily send it to you. You just need to email me or just inbox me on our Facebook page. The Form 30 is crimes against children. So your police clearance is for general crimes. And then the Form 30 is specifically for crimes against children. So it's a form that must be filled in and it must be sent off to Pretoria. There's an address on there. Sure. And then you're supposed to get your response within 21 days. It doesn't really happen in 21 days. There's ways and means of doing this Form 30 application, but if you're serious about volunteering, you can just inbox me and then I can try and help you with that Form 30 application. It's also a nice way if you want to become a foster care parent. So you come onto the volunteer program first. You understand then what we do. You come here, you put your hands onto our children, as in you will be cuddling, you'll be nappy changing. You'll be quite shocked when you hear all the cries, and then you'll come again, and then you'll hear all the cries, and then you'll come again, and it's like, no, that cry is actually like music. Yeah, because the cries are like music. It doesn't faze us at all. I always, and in the beginning, I used to tell the staff, turn that cry into a song. Let it be music. So yes, so when you're on the volunteer program, you're here with us for a few months, and then you can stick your hand up and say, hey, what is the process to foster? Well, you're already halfway in the process because you've done a lot of the paperwork. The other half of the process is just for the social worker to step in and do her screening or his screening and come to your house, check all your background information, your financials, etc. That stuff that I don't touch. That is a social worker's responsibility.
Wow.
And so volunteering is cool. I've got people that come every Saturday. You can come in the week from a Monday to a Sunday, but you have to be out of here by 4 o'clock.
Wow.
Because that's when the day staff starts handing over to the night staff and wrapping things up for the day. So I hope that's clear.
And it's really fun because, I mean, my mom always tells us about how the children are just so cute. And even the crying and stuff. You don't ever complain about that.
Facts.
You don't ever complain about it.
But you complains about me crying.
Yeah, you can smell the smell of the babies when you come home. And then also, Uncle Dion,
Yeah.
would you mind explaining how the drop-offs would work?
Yeah, sure. When people want to drop off whatever we request, baby clothes, formula, nappies, and so on, we would prefer people to inbox us and make an appointment for the simple reason that we don't want people to come here and take up the staff's time who is working with the babies, because we want people to come onto the premises and actually see what we're doing. And so if they say they're coming, we would say, okay, be here at 10 o'clock. We'll spend half an hour with you, myself, Janine. We would then take you through the property, show you what's going on, and who knows, maybe you become a volunteer to become
A foster.
a foster,
Yeah.
you know.
But you also get people that don't actually want to come onto the premises because they say they just can't because they say it's too hard. But we always try to reel them in and show them that it's not so hard and there's something that you can do. So for those people that just want to drop off, you can just say, I'm just dropping off. That you can do any time of the day. But if you're wanting to drop off and come onto the premises, I always ask, do you want to drop off or drop off and come walk around? So tell us what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can prepare yourself, obviously.
Yes, of course.
And then what we'll do is we can link in this video
Yep.
banking details, numbers, Facebook page.
Yes.
It's Facebook page that you can get you on, and the website.
Yes.
And then yes, we will link that down in the description below.
Like, my idea of is like a safe house, like the operation you live, the operation that you find yourself operating in. Like, there's always a negative connotation to, like, a child growing up in a safe house. Because when I think of a safe house, I think of Annie. I think of children just being abused and just being not looked after, and just you have a roof over your head and that's good enough for you. But like, when I hear stories of Uncle Dion and Auntie Janine, like, it really warms my heart, because like, for those who don't know me, I love babies, like, and babies love me as well, because I'm a babies person. So just to know that they are not only looked after, but they actually were looked after and actually noticed and actually loved, and that you're actually imparting motherly, I don't think mother is a word, but like mother values that wasn't there in a previous season, but you are imparting that in this season that they find themselves now. It's something to take it. It's
Yeah.
wow. It's really, I can really take my hats off.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, Cameron, if I can just add on to that. Today, I just mentioned in a meeting that what we do is so important. We are actually restarting the child's life. Because when a child is born from substance, or whether the child is abandoned, or however this child came into the care and protection program, that we wipe away. We wipe away the ugliness. We wipe away rejection. We wipe away everything. And we press the restart button and we restart your life. And so, and like you also said, like if the head is right, everything else will follow. Dion and I are Christians. And there's no ways we would do this project without God. And then also because we're doing it with God, our children, our babies that come through our doors here will have the best lives. One of my social workers calls this baby heaven.
Wow.
Yeah, this is our ministry, and a lot of people don't understand it. You know, Hannah's place of safety for the love of the kids.
Wow. That's a catchy slogan.
I love that. But thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
so
us.
much.
It was
We really enjoyed
pleasure.
this.
it was really such a great episode.
Wow.
Pleasure.
Yeah, but like I said, everything will be linked below.
Yep.
Thank you so much to the audience today sitting behind the camera, my parents.
Yep.
Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for supporting our vision.
Yeah.
And thank you for hopping on today.
Yep.
Thank you for having
It was
us.
a pleasure.
So
Thank you.
we'll see you guys next week.
Yep.